If you're someone who gives to everyone else and puts yourself last, Date Your Body starts February 1st with just 3 spots left. This isn't about fixing your body, it's about learning to listen, receive, and trust yourself again. If you're ready to choose yourself without guilt, go to jjflazanes.com/apply. Welcome to West Coast Women Rising. I'm JJ Flazanes. Welcome to the show. We have with us Dr. Elizabeth Wisniewski, and I'm excited to hear her story. It is going to be very inspirational. Welcome to the show, Dr. Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
So you are a part of the Ventura County Businesswomen in the Facebook group, and you learned about this podcast and this launch. And what were some of the things that you thought about when you heard we were doing the show?
I think it's really powerful to showcase what women entrepreneurs are doing, not just here in Ventura, but on the West Coast of the US and beyond, because there's so many amazing businesses. Every time I'm in the Facebook group, I'm taking screenshots of new businesses or things that are being launched. And I usually can't go to the meetings because I have my practice, but I'm always learning a lot from the group. So I was excited this can get it out to more people.
So you tell us about you have so many aspects of your story. You have what you do in the world, but then of course what you've had to overcome to get to be doing what you're doing in the world. So you want to take us back
Yeah.
as far as it makes sense to
Mhm.
when either your personal story happened or when the birth of your business happened?
Sure. I'll go back in time a bit, briefly to my childhood and being diagnosed with a really rare retinal disease, which led to me having over 30 eye surgeries from the time I was about 6 years old until my mid 20s. And that really shaped my life because I grew up being able to see just fine. I wore glasses. And over time, this degenerative retinal disease, I lost my eyesight in my right eye when I was 14. My mother passed away from cancer that same year. So my freshman year of high school was really hard, but she really instilled these skill sets into me of how to advocate for myself, how to meet objectives in the course curriculum, but by getting there in a different way. So when I was 22, I was done with undergrad. I had double majored in poli-sci and environmental studies, wanting to go to law school. But about a week after graduation, I had my 30th surgery and it didn't go as according to plan, and I lost most of my eyesight then in my left eye. So I was at this crossroads of not knowing what to do, and I was so young, and I felt like all my dreams had just imploded. But I was back in Michigan, where I'm from, at my parents' house, my dad and stepmom's house, and I heard a commercial for a medical massage school and just thought, I'm going to do that. My eyesight always bounces back after these surgeries. Let me just do something. And a couple weeks in, I went to my dad and thanked him for paying for undergrad and told him I think I was actually meant to be a chiropractor because I just fell in love with anatomy and physiology. It all really made sense to me. So I had to go back and take all my science classes like chemistry and physics without being able to see them, doing mental math for the equations, and then went to chiro school. And everything my mom had taught me about meeting objectives in a different way really came into place. And I had to self advocate quite a bit to have accommodations and all my needs met. But I was able to become a doctor not just once, but twice. I ended up going to Pacifica Graduate Institute here in Santa Barbara and got a second doctorate, a PhD in somatic depth psychology, and about 25 other certifications in between.
What a story. So I'm intrigued. And obviously, I have a background in health and wellness also from a personal training standpoint. And obviously, I go to the chiropractor. So I can see how feeling is enough, right? Like that seeing doesn't have to be there. You
Mhm.
can feel. Is that how you do your chiropractic? I'm guessing. Are there
Yeah.
ways to overcome some of the things? Because I know for some people, chiropractors take x-rays and they go over them.
Mhm.
Like, how do you treat your practice differently with having your eyesight the way that it is?
Yeah, about 50% of chiros do take x-rays, but those are based on their technique systems often. And if there's red flags, I send out for x-rays. And my practice, I focus mainly on perinatal. I was the first chiro to be perinatal certified within 100 miles. And that was during the pandemic. And so I see lots of pregnant people, preconception, postpartum, as well as lots and lots of babies. So it's really gentle, everything I do. And for me, I'm using my hands, my heart, even my third eye intuition. And so that's how I overcome it because I have this deep seat of knowing. And I've been doing body work for 19 years. I've been a chiropractor for 13 years now. So I really trust what I feel and from the history and everything. And so that's how I've really taken this huge challenge of losing my eyesight, but turned it into a strength and an asset.
Definitely. Can I ask if you know what your sun and moon are in astrology?
I do. I'm a Cancer sun and a Scorpio moon with a Leo rising.
Oh, okay. How about any chance you know your true node?
I do. Yeah, I know all of it. Don't worry. My North Node is in Gemini, but my Mercury's in Leo as well. So that's why I like come across with all this fire. And that really helps me because otherwise I'm a really sensitive water sign.
How about your Venus and Mars?
Venus is in Cancer and Mars is in Scorpio.
Whoa, yes, lots of water. Very
Yeah,
sensitive. I'm a
yeah.
Pisces with a lot of
Okay.
Sag.
Yeah.
And obviously do a lot of astrology with my clients. So
I love it.
I like to say have that perspective
Hmm.
because especially as a Cancer with a
Hmm.
Scorpio moon, I mean you
Hmm.
it could have turned out you could have been real mad. Right?
Yes.
Like this could have,
Yeah.
and so my question is I mean obviously this is an amazing story and when people often complain we have such limited viewpoints in our lives most of the time because we take for granted so many things that we have. And we always look at a lot of people look ahead, they're counting what isn't working, they're waiting for things that aren't working, and they're actually appreciating what they have. And so we get out of balance and we end up in this cycle and this spin, if you will. And so what would be some of the things that helped you and I know I'm hearing the voice of your mother. And I also asked you your
Hmm.
astrology because I teach intuition courses myself
Mm.
and rely heavily on my intuition. And it's strengthened because you can strengthen your intuition just like anything else.
Hmm.
Just like a muscle, you can strengthen your intuition. And people don't know
Yeah.
that. They think, oh, I have to be born psychic or born clairvoyant or clairaudient. But I'm sure with the loss of sight that
Yeah.
many things got strengthened. Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And they've even shown on functional MRIs that your cells will migrate from one cortex of your brain to another when there's a diminished or lost sense. So I absolutely feel that my hearing's really acute. And yeah, I could just feel things and palpate with even like the little tip of my finger. And that's why I feel I do well with adjusting babies because you're not manually cracking their neck. It's really gentle and specific. So I feel into that very deeply.
How do you get your clients? I'm just curious as to where you started networking or
Mhm.
how did you develop your business?
So I moved from the Bay Area when I went to Chiro school there to Santa Barbara. Initially, I practiced there for almost 11 years, and now I've been in Ventura just over a year and a half. And I didn't know anyone when I moved to Santa Barbara. And so what I did is I got on the board of NAWBO, National Association of Women Business Owners for Santa Barbara. I was on their board, and then I was on the board of Women's Economic Ventures Weave. So that was really good for just getting to know people in the community. And then I made a list of all the types of business owners I would want to meet with, and then met with over 200 business owners in person over the first couple of years I was in practice and new in Santa Barbara, and would bring materials, not asking them of like, oh, refer to me. I never said that, but I would find articles somehow relating our professions and would make them a folder and say, how can we collaborate? And I would look at their website, I would learn their mission statement so that we could find these connection points that were really authentic. So I didn't just meet with everybody, if their website I wasn't getting an embodied yes, I moved along. And then we sent them handwritten thank you notes. And that's how I really connected in the community, was very involved those first few years. And I haven't done any marketing since. Um, my practice mostly followed me when I moved to Ventura, still getting new patients every week from Goleta, Santa Barbara, Santa Ynez, all the way to LA because of my expertise in perinatal and babies. And so now I get lots of referrals from OBs, midwives, doulas, and then all the mom groups. The mom groups are amazing.
I love that. That is such a great way to handle networking and to go into we were Tawny and I were just talking about that on one of the most recent podcasts when we started the show about the feel and hopefully we'll do another full segment about it because I've been
Hmm.
networking since 2001. I've had a business since 2001 and I haven't
Hmm.
networked the whole time but I did sort of what you did in terms of I came in I started to get to know everybody I made myself known I had conversations and relationships and I hired people but there's an energy to networking that is bad or good, depending on if you learn how to do it correctly. And I love that you
Yeah.
are sharing that you went in with the collaboration idea versus the selling
Hmm.
idea. So if you're listening to the show and you're someone who's in business and you're networking, it's really not a good energy to walk into a room expecting to get. If everybody walks in to get, you've got 100 people who are expecting to sell to you, and everyone's going to be resistant because that's not where your focus is. But if you're going in
Hmm.
with either the collaboration, how can we work together, or the give, how can I come with people that I know need things and I don't know the people that I could refer them to. How could I meet people that I could refer them to, like my clients, my friends, my family, my neighbors? So I love that you chose the collaboration route because it also strengthens our marketing ability, right? Like
Yeah.
when you meet with someone who has strengths to your weaknesses or is a good complement or a good up or down flow of business, then it's an easy fit. And so you've done a masterful job of setting up those relationships that are still feeding you today. You mentioned about the websites and looking at someone's website. So please explain
Hmm.
how you're what you're seeing. If you can't see, how do you do that?
Yeah. My phone, I just have a normal iPhone, and everybody's phone has all this accessibility technology, which is really cool. And so I just turn the screen reader on and it reads everything to me. It reads emojis, everything. So if you see me commenting on Instagram, that's actually me doing it. I can navigate and do probably 98% of the stuff on my own.
Well, that's cool. I have a client
Yeah.
who is hearing impaired,
Mm-hmm.
and we just had her write a book, her first Amazon bestseller this year, about her story of losing her hearing. So I
Amazing.
know she does a lot of closed captions. So I was like, oh, I'm very curious on how you do when you don't have sight, how, but I
Yeah.
love that because it still goes into the intuitive part of it resonating with you. If it
Mm-hmm.
resonates with you. And now the reader, is there a certain voice? Is it a man, a woman? Is it sort of like our Siri or our, when we get directions, do you get to choose the kind of type of voice that you hear?
Yeah, you can absolutely choose it, and they're coming out with more and more. And so I have the Siri voice I use is different than the screen reader voice that I use just so I can delineate them. But I have it reading at 70%. So everybody's like, what is it saying? How do you understand that? I'm like, yeah, it's called neuroplasticity. And I can understand it at 100%. But then if I'm there, everybody I talk to in the real world is going to seem so slow to me. So I have to keep it at 70% because it's fast enough I can get things done, but doesn't mess up my brain so much where everything else seems too slow. Because our brains are so adaptable.
Absolutely. I listen to podcasts on 1.25 or 1.5. Same thing with books. We in all my groups we use Marco Polo app. I always listen to Marco Polos on 1.5 or 2 because everybody's it's in real
Yeah.
time videos and they're usually kind of
Yeah.
slow and we're having our coffee and so I'm like, okay, no, we got to speed this up. Because I can retrieve this information faster, like you said, and sort of get on with my day and figure out what to do next, and I don't have to slow myself down in order to necessarily receive the information. So, well, okay. So you work with moms and babies and
Yeah.
pregnancy. And
Mhm.
do you do any chiropractic or body work outside of that demographic?
I'll see family members of my practice members, but typically that's my focus from preconception through postpartum. And then, especially around birth trauma, my PhD research was on C-section, and I got really deep into obstetric racism and obstetric violence in that work. So I'm working more and more virtually with birth processing, but also I'll work with anyone around embodiment. And I am going to be releasing a new website soon to have more of those offerings around embodied leadership coaching and just overall embodiment. And that's somatics, the lived experience of your body.
We're in alignment. My last year's event was called the Embodied Healing Intensive. So it's sort of I think it's like what's in the air right now. Like those of us that are sort of
Hmm.
healers and intuitive, we're really making a call towards inhabiting your physical body and grounding our energetic power in being in this vessel while we're here. So it's not that we're just, all over the place energetically or we're out of our body because so many people are in their head or energetically not present. So I love that you're
Yes.
doing that. What will that look like when you're doing embodiment coaching?
It'll be over Zoom or just audio if people want to be just like Zoom audio with me. But it may include, because I'm also a somatic movement therapist, movement or art homework or poetry, songwriting, all of those different aspects to find wholeness. and processing different traumatic parts of your life, perhaps as well. So it's really whatever that person needs. So I have 5 pillars of embodiment, and I have an ebook that's going to be released soon on this topic as well. And it's embodiment, empowerment, empathy, energy, and education. So those are the ways that we can get to a place of wholeness and embodiment as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a human.
Okay, well, obviously there's a story there because you've had to learn all of those. Is there any
Mhm.
specific story that resonates with this community of women entrepreneurs, business owners, or just being a woman in general and being in your life that propelled you to create this?
Yeah, I chose all the E words because everybody called me Dr. E since my last name is hard to pronounce. And so I was really leaning into that. I used to resist it. I'm like, no, I'm Dr. Wisniewski. I want to be taken seriously. And at this point in my career, I'm like, it's fine. I'm Dr. E. That's who I am. That's my brand. How everybody in the community knows me. So I've really felt into those words. But around embodiment in general, what I've learned over the years is even if you are a healer or you go to a hands on healer, it doesn't necessarily mean they're working with your soma or your sense of embodiment, your somatic experience. A lot of times we work with the body, and when we pass away, we transition, we die, our body's left on earth, but our soma is gone because the soma has a soul spark, is what I believe. And that's your first person lived experience. So that's what I want to tap into because, as you alluded to earlier, so many people are spacing out. And I'm like, how can we space in and pay more attention to our proprioception, where we are in time and space? Our interoceptive awareness. What am I noticing inside my body, like breath or heart rate? Exteroception, what's happening around me? And that's what I want to tap into. And then I wanted to use these other important pillars or words or vibrations around empathy and energy. And the energy, like, I love all sorts of energetic healing, like Reiki and everything like that. But energy is also how are we containing our own energy, especially if you do hands on work. I really had to learn how to not take people's energy on past my wrists. So for me, washing hands is obviously for hygiene. It's also for removing that energy because I only want to interact with equal and higher vibrations.
So, what would be some of the symptoms somebody might be experiencing in their life, in their body, in their relationship, in their spirituality, in their psyche, if that would be a good fit for someone to do the embodiment leadership and the coaching around the ease?
Yeah, if you find yourself really needing to numb out a lot, whether it's through, I don't know, alcohol or always wanting to play video games or just not being present, I think that is just those simple things may be a good clue that we're a bit disembodied or dismembered, like dis-membered. We're losing those pieces of ourselves. So embodiment coaching can help you remember who you are.
I love that. Disembodied uh, and re-embodied, remember.
Mhm.
Those are great. All right. So, anything else that you feel is important for us to know about you as a person who has stepped into this role as an embodied leader, as a healer, as a helper, as a messenger to share? I mean, what's one of the biggest messages you think you have out there? Obviously, it's embodiment and that
Yeah.
healing is possible, and we learn our intuition and trusting our intuition. But is there something that I may not know that I've missed?
Yeah, something that came to me about 8, 9 years ago was having my own personal purpose statement. So different than your mission or vision statement for your business. This is my life purpose statement. So I like to make decisions. Am I getting closer or am I getting further away when anything comes up as an option, whether it's a podcast interview or a patient or whatever it is this helping me on my personal purpose, which is to cultivate and inspire creative courage? So, what I encourage everyone to do is come up with that something like it's your mantra, something you can say so quickly, like an elevator pitch for your soul. And that's how you make decisions. That's really helped me in business and in life. And that's what led me to everything I'm doing right now, getting away from daily practice, only practicing a couple days a week. Because I love helping people, but there's so much, other things I want to do in the world. And that leads into I'm president of a tech startup called Dream Planet, And so I'm also doing that. Always busy. But it was an embodied yes for me because, and then people are always like, why are you working so much? I'm like, because this is what my soul is driving me to do right now.
I get that.
Yeah.
Totally get that. So is it your personal mission statement was cultivate and inspire creative courage? Did I get that?
Yes. Yes.
What I love about that mission statement is I've been trying to put to words the idea because I'm going to be doing a solo podcast for my podcasts about this idea of Dharma and zone of genius and the importance that we all are in it versus because
Mhm.
some people I attract a lot of people who they work for somebody else and they're not really all interested in becoming entrepreneurs or doing anything on the side. And I'm not necessarily trying to make everybody into an entrepreneur, but what I am trying to do is allow your creative freedom to shine and to make sure that it has it's time that you're living it in some way, shape, or form, whether you make money for it or not, I don't really care, but that it's part of our health, it's part of our expression, it's part of our dharma, it's why we're here. And I love that cultivate and inspire creative courage because it does take courage for someone who isn't going to make money from it to say, well, how do I step into this? Why do I need to? Well, you need to because it's your life force. And if you are not
Mhm.
allowing your life force to come through you and have an outlet, then you repress it. And as we know, repression, of course, creates disease and dysfunction.
Yeah.
So, an addiction and many things, anxiety. And so I think that's a beautiful statement. And you said to make sure that it was easy, repeatable, one sentence, so like few words.
Yeah. Something that, yeah, I never said that before, but like an elevator pitch for your soul. And that's what came through to me just now. And that feels so in alignment. I feel like I can just say it all day, every day. I know it. It's part of me. It's imprinted.
I just got my own clarity recently about who I serve, like in a way to say it. It's
Hmm.
not quite as succinct. Maybe I'll work on that. I had some neighbors who had come to a we were doing a block party. I organized a block party because my neighborhood didn't do anything. And I thought, okay, let's get people together. And they came to the block party and they're basically 79 and 80 and they were so thrilled that we were doing this and you're a doer, you're an organizer. Everyone who's listening to the show, if you're a business owner, most likely you're a doer, right? You're a producer. So to me, it's not a big deal. They're like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for doing this. We want to do this for 20 years." And I'm thinking it's not hard. You just print off the flyers, you pick a date, you put them in the mailbox and then you have a table and some food. But they had asked me, what do you do? And I thought, here's an opportunity to not over explain to two little cute little people who I'm not going to have a full on conversation with. And I said, I help people learn how to be happy. And they went,
Mm,
oh, so it was clear. It was really clear
yeah.
to them. Now, that doesn't tell you how and for whom, but it was the clearest way that I could say, ultimately, what all the work I do is this. It's teaching people how to be happy. So,
Hmm.
and they said, oh, you a therapist? I said, no, I'm a coach. But it was a really fun way to see how succinct we can be with our words because for each group, it's going to be different. Like in this group with women entrepreneurs, cultivate and inspire creative courage is awesome and I love that and I want to like sink my teeth into that for a minute. I want to be with that and everyone who's listening to that thinking, damn, I need that too. I need something that sounds that good, right? But that might not work with the 80-year-olds who don't have a business
Hmm.
because it won't be clear, but it's clear in this environment. So I think this is an amazing thing for people who listen to the show, especially if you have a business. And even if you don't, just what is your personal mantra? I think that's a great exercise for everybody to do coming off of this interview. And then I want to make sure people can connect with you in
Hmm.
ways that are meaningful for you. So if we've outlined who would be the right people to refer to you in terms of your businesses, if it's local, and if it's not local, when you move into expanding into your empowerment and Dr. E into the
Yeah.
space of Zoom and the internet, what would be the best way for people to contact or reach out to you?
Best ways through Instagram at Dr. Elizabeth Wisniewski. That's the ultimate way to reach me.
Okay, great. And then any other
Hmm.
words of wisdom, advice, or
Hmm.
things you're working on that you want to share with the community?
Yeah, a couple things. I want to leave first off with a quote that really is inspired by what you were just saying with your block party. And this is another quote that really motivates me. It's from Gandhi. And it is intention without action is delusion. And so we need to set that intention, take the action. Those two things go hand in hand. So often people are doing the spiritual bypass of just like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But then there's also that action aspect. And so it's like the feminine and the masculine coming together within each one of us to make a difference, to serve our purpose in the world. So that's really important to me. And then lastly, I already mentioned it. I do have another company called Dream Planet. You can join as any sort of creator, like as a musician, dancer, filmmaker, a fan, or an investor. And we're solving the biggest problem in the entertainment industry, which is funding for independent artists. So we're available in the App Store and on Google Play. And I ask that you check us out.
You got your hands in a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
And so I would recommend anyone who's listening to this episode, if you feel that there's anyone who you know that would benefit from any of the things that Dr. Elizabeth, Dr. E, has talked about, please forward this episode. Send them this episode so they can hear what is available to them in terms of getting some support, some help, some funding, some creative inspiration, some healing, some empowerment, some energy, some embodiment, all kinds of things we touched on today. If it resonates with you, which is why I love the podcasting space. Yes, we're here on video for those of you that are watching the video, but ultimately podcasting is audio. And audio is about getting into your ear. It's a very intimate situation where you're really feeling us. You can't help but feel us. And so if this feels like a fit, or if it feels like it evokes a memory or an idea or a person that you want to link up to, please take that action and send this podcast to them. Dr. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This has been so wonderful.
Thanks for tuning in to West Coast Women Rising. If today's episode inspired you, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show, and share it with a woman you know who's ready to rise. To learn more and stay connected, visit westcoastwomenrising.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and keep leading with heart.